welcome back to Zero Waste TV. I hope you are staying healthy and safe. Here in California, we have been on lockdown for about 7 days, and I am starting to get some serious cabin fever. And I imagine if you have any kids at home, it's probably even tougher. So not only did I need to find an activity to entertain myself with, but the stores around here have been out of ginger beer for the last few weeks. Luckily, making it is pretty easy, and all I needed for ingredients was water, sugar, and ginger. For materials, I use a mason jar, some swing top bottles, and a sprouting lid, though I kind of recommend cheesecloth in hindsight. Start by finely chopping 2 tablespoons of the freshest ginger you can find. Leave the skin on and don't wash it, because you actually want that naturally occurring yeast on the ginger skin, which is going to help make your ginger beer nice and fizzy. Next, we will mix together 2 tablespoons of sugar with 2 cups of room temperature water and just stir it until it dissolves. I'm using a 64-ounce mason jar in this moment. Mix in the ginger and give it another quick stir. Seal the jar with a piece of cheesecloth or a sprouting lid like I'm using here. Just be careful. I have had really good luck with sprouting lids so far, but I have heard stories of flies getting through them, so you might want to stick with cheesecloth. Now store the jar at room temperature and feed it the same amount of ginger and sugar every 24 hours. It's kind of like having a pet that you can drink and not feel guilty about. After 2 to 3 days, you're going to start to see some fizzy carbonation on the surface of the liquid. Once it looks fizzy, you're ready to move on to the next step. To prepare the ginger for the ginger beer, you can chop it up as finely as you've been doing so for the last few days, or you can use a food processor and really blend it down into a nice ginger paste. It'll take a little bit less time if you process it, just mix in a little bit of water to help it blend, and the flavor is going to be a lot more intense, which I prefer. It's kind of like a slap in the face and a how do you do. Now in a large cooking pot, bring 8 cups of water to a boil, then mix in your ginger pulp, 1/2 cups of sugar. You can use as little as 3/4 of a cup of sugar or as much as 2 cups, depending on your personal preference for sweetness. Then simmer the mixture for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, remove the pot from the heat and allow the liquid to return to room temperature. This is really important. If it's too hot, we risk killing that fizzy yeast in the mixture we've been feeding for the last 3 days. And if it's too cold, we could shock it. By the way, that fizzy mixture is called a ginger bug. If you've ever made kombucha, it's kind of like the ginger beer equivalent of a SCOBY. Then I strain the solids from the liquids into a large bowl and add 1/2 cup of our ginger bug. Then taking a spoon, I just press down on all the solids to try to get as much juice out as possible. Now would be a great time to add 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, which I forgot to do while I was making this, so I had to go back and add it to the bottles later. Now using a funnel, fill your swing top bottles about 1 inch from the top with your ginger beer mixture. And then after I filled the bottles, I remembered the lemon juice, so I added it last. And it still worked out okay. Now once you've bottled your ginger beer, there's something very, very important to remember. You must burp the ginger beer every 24 hours or the bottle will explode. That's right, explode. So set your alarm to go off every 24 hours, and all you have to do is just open the top of the bottle to allow a little bit of the gas to escape, and then you won't have anything to worry about. Now, depending on how intense you like your ginger beer, you can let it sit on the counter for 1 to 3 days, or a little longer. I usually keep mine at room temperature for 1 week. And remember, the longer you wait, the more carbonated it will become. But it's also important to note that the alcohol level will also increase, but usually it's still pretty nominal. After a week, I put the bottles in the fridge, which slows down the carbonation process. Drink the ginger beer within a few days. Some? I don't think so.
What?